read my wife's diary, and what I found has shaken me to my core.
Oh, you got to firm that core up, baby. You got to firm it up. Don't let that core get shaken.
I, 44 male, have been with my wife, 42 female, for 21 years. We have 2 kids, 9 and 11. We have a house, stable, medium income jobs, healthy relationship, good, spicy sleep life, etc. So everything seems okay, right? It's all great.
I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to this person.
Incorrect. This comes from What a Situation from the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So it started 6 months ago when I, as usual, patted my wife on the butt. She, for the first time in 20 years, lashed out and said that I didn't respect her, etc., etc. I was, of course, hurt because that physical touch is how I communicate emotionally. I then froze up on all activities approaching her physically, waiting for her to take any action for 5 months, which is hard because she is not a physical person. To add insult to injury, 4 months ago, we had a joint vacation for a couple of weeks with a couple of friends where the man and my wife are very close, joint interests. They became way too friendly, not physically though, and it ended by his girlfriend forcing him to take distance from my wife. So she was the one that put a stop. I was already upset, but wanted to wait for time to talk this out because something more was off. Up until now, I've never cared with whom she's out with. I've had no reason to, or tell her what to do, tell her how to do things. I encourage her to go for her career, stepping up when she wanted the kids, a house, etc., etc. But a month ago, I was so fed up with this and was really in a bad mental state. I travel a lot for work, so I have too much time to think, and finally sat us down to talk this out, why she's changing her behavior, etc., etc. She gave her side to the story and said it was nothing. Was really sorry for how it was displayed, and to some extent, I can understand her. She's pushing 40 plus, and it always feels good to get appreciation, so that I can understand. I've done flirtatious things in the past, but I kept my distance and make sure it will never affect my wife or my family. That talk felt okay, and I put that behind me. After a couple of weeks, we were clearing out our storage, and I went through our old calendars. My wife went through hers, and I jokingly asked what it said when we met. She gladly showed the notes. Met XXX for the first time. Feels great. And went through a few more weeks after the date when we were an official couple. There, I saw that her ex had slept over. She froze up and closed the book. I didn't say anything, but I came back later and read that she had met him 10 plus times at parties and 3 other exes during more than a year. I also opened up a small notebook, which was a huge mistake. I knew she had a diary. That is always off limits, but I didn't expect to find this to be part of a diary 3 months up until she met me, where she stated how much and to great detail how she loved some men before me, wanting to build a future with them, etc., etc. I know at least 2 of these men, and they are typical F-boys. And it angers me so much that she fell in that trap and that she liked it so much. About me, it didn't say too much. Just that at the time, I studied too much.
He's too smart. My boyfriend's big brain is making me upset.
This next section is titled Lies. To be added, I know that she had met another ex, a common friend of ours, after me at parties, and I asked her before I read the notebook straight out if she had met any other ex during our time, and she said no. I then read this notebook and confronted her, and she defends herself by saying she thought I meant sleeping with anyone. She said she thought she was open about party friends, and it was nothing, only a friend group. I confront her about other things and find out that she omits things frequently. For example, one guy that she's been seeing with a friend group 5 years into our relationship. I do not believe they did anything physically, but I also now know her well enough that when she talks about someone in a certain way, I know they mean something special to her.
Is this guy just mad that his girlfriend has had feelings before they met?
It's too much for me so far.
He's just like, I just found out my girlfriend used to love somebody? What do I do with this information? My girlfriend knew what feelings were before we met, and I feel I've been betrayed.
Look, maybe she did get together with people. We don't know yet. I guess there's more to the story, but like, it just feels like she I ran into an ex at a party.
There's always a give and take, right, in a relationship. And I feel like given this guy's apparent attitude by the way this is written, it's like she couldn't ever tell him that she was with like a friend like that, because he'd be like, oh, whoa. He'd probably get all insecure and upset and mad about it. And it's like he's literally reading stuff that happened before she even knew he existed. And he's being like, oh, this is disturbing me. It's like, she wasn't born yesterday, dog. Come on.
Well, now we're getting into trust. The next section. Not only do I have to live with her love declarations of men that I despise, but also her meeting up with exes and the lies make me not trust her. I met the ex that slept over and she knew then how much I disliked him, and still she did go out with him for more than a year. This is 15 to 20 years ago. And it's not valid anymore. And I've done some flirting myself. So let's say I believe her and call it even. The thing is that she had been doing this on a much deeper emotional level and for a very long time. And then there is the trust issue. She says she has not done anything with our friend, but can I trust her? As a man, it's incredibly hard to think of other men that she loved.
What a loser.
Everyone boo this man.
Boo.
I feel so degraded when I read about all these men before me. Why meet all these temporary guys and leave it as unfinished business? Yes, that may be an insecurity, but in my mind, when we are together, there is no one else. All my exes are cut off, and I make sure that she will never, ever have to meet any of them. It's a matter of decency. She thinks it's a teenage love thing, and the exes were fun party friends. In my mind, the feelings are still there for someone you loved if it was not a finished relationship. She does not see a problem with going out with her exes. She considers them closed business. But for me, that would be a huge no-go. I could never party with an ex, then there would still be something and I would second guess my relationship. If I knew about this back then, I would have ended the relationship. What to think? She thinks our love has grown over the years and this must mean something. Of course, I agree, and I really try to adapt my thinking because we do have a wonderful family in life. I'm sometimes thinking I'm silly. It can be just as she says. We have a fantasy life. Why am I even thinking these thoughts? During all of this, she has to take a lot of my insecurities, and it makes her feel bad as well. Redemption arc?
No. I know why you're thinking these thoughts, because you're insecure and you shouldn't be in a relationship.
I have now met a therapist in order to manage my feelings and put a lid on my open thoughts. It's not helping. If I want to continue to rant and ask questions, I will not get any more answers. What can she do? Only way for me to truly know is if she shows her diary, but that's not going to happen. So the insecurity I have to live with, or reading even worse details that leads to direct divorce.
What does that mean? If you read that your wife was ever with someone and she was like, that was nice, you're gonna be like, I can't believe it. Get out of our house. It's my house now. You're for the streets.
This guy literally has a family and like a full-on life with her, and he's like, I found this out about you. We're done.
She shook hands with an ex, not just 20 years ago. Are you ready for it, boys? Only 10 years ago. Shook hands.
Disgusting.
I'm disgusted. I want to throw up.
Some more thoughts. I'm stuck in thinking why she chose me and why she had these parallel relationships for 1 to 5 years. The change in behavior this year and the lies. ... This has become a serious crisis where I feel miserable, do not want to engage in any physical activity, lost will to engage in anything, thinking about divorce, thinking about what it is that makes her feel so passionate about others. What could I have done? What am I missing? Has she had thoughts about leaving me?
I think you're missing just whatever makes people human.
Dude's so insecure. Dude's like, what could I have done? You could have gotten a time machine. You could have stopped her. You'd be like, I'm the love of your life in the future. Don't marry anyone or you're done.
You know what he could have done? Good straight Hammurabi's code on him. Yo, the man hands are shaking. I'm cutting those. Boom. Now, are my thoughts valid? I would really like to know how women think and act, and I'd really appreciate some response from women. In lieu of that, before we get into the final part, you're going to get some response for some men. Dakota, Keon, what do we do?
Dude, set this guy to the sun. Make him think his thoughts, dude. He's so stupid.
No, he needs to go to the moon. All right? He needs to go to the moon. He needs to be alone on the moon and sit there on the moon and look back at the earth and realize, wow, there's a whole world full of people. And there's people who used to date my wife on that planet. And I'm going to have to just live with the fact that I'm not the first man my wife ever laid eyes on or had feelings for.
Was this his only partner ever?
He literally said that he has flirted or done flirtatious actions during his relationship.
He said he cut off his exes completely. Did he also just wipe them all out of his brain? He's like, I have completely forgotten all of you. I don't even care. This guy's response to ever having a relationship with somebody is just like, well, if it doesn't work out, then they have to essentially be dead to you.
Maybe he's actually smashing all of his exes and he's like, hey, you can't be shaking hands with your ex because I'm already smashing mine.
It's making me think did something get lost here? is this happening during the relationship? But she's just friends with her ex. This guy sucks. Send him to the moon where he can smash all his exes.
We're almost done. He might change his tune. Let's see. By the way, you can always change your tune on your radio to join us live on YouTube every single weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap the profile. You know what to do. I felt so miserable that I couldn't hide my emotional state, and we have had another several hours long talk. She is miserable as well since I question her moral standing and decision making. She is adamant that she has never done anything physical. These things never meant anything to her, that she is blue-eyed and is so sorry for everything. I still cannot get an answer on why she hasn't proclamated love in the same way as for the others, and she states that every love is different and ours is the one she wants. I cannot release the thoughts of her F-boys, her parties with the exes, her way of looking in the eyes of our friend. Just recently, so I've contacted a new therapist specializing in unfaithfulness.
Dude, stop it. You're wrong.
I've come to the conclusion that she has had feelings for these men, and I simply have to decide on if I can live with it or not. The question is how.
I want to yell. I want to yell so bad of how stupid this guy is.
Dude, get over yourself.
You're so insecure, brother.
You're just like a little boy. You're acting like it's like, oh, Susie's looking at Tommy on the playground, and it's because he can swing so high on the swings. And I know, oh, I'm done with her.
Maybe I could come after Tommy. Maybe I could take those monkey bars and chalk them down with a saw, and little Tommy's gonna crack in two.